I'm looking at the boxes file, and what we're going to be doing is using the traditional box model, and we are going to be displaying these boxes next to each other on a row. And so in order to do that, we have to add the float property to each of these boxes, and when we add it to box 1, that'll enable box 2 to display next to box 1. And when we add float to box 2, that'll enable box 3 to display next to box 2. We're also going to be modifying the widths as well. And box 4 is going to end up being really wide, so that's just going to end up on a row by itself. Now, I'm going to show you kind of the end result. And let's take a look at the code. So the internal style sheet actually is doing all of the styling for the boxes. So we come down here, you'll notice we have a section, and within the section we have these divisions that are creating the boxes. So basically the section is acting as the container or the parent, and then the boxes are inside that. So if we look at section, it is constraining the amount of space those boxes can occupy. It says the width is 75. And then we come down and we take a look at each one of the boxes, and they each have a width setting. Now, they are created using the division tag, and the division tag is the one that's got the height setting, it's got a border, it's got the font color of black and bold for the font weight, and the text centered, okay? So that is creating kind of the outline of the boxes. And then when we come down here to the IDs, this is where the boxes are getting the colors. This is where the boxes are getting the width settings. And this is also where we're telling it how to position the box, basically. So for the first one, we got a width of 20 and we have float left. That is enabling this second box to display next to it. This has got a width of 40, so it's going to be a little bit bigger. And we have float left. That enables this third box, which is blue, to be on the same row. Okay, now, there is an issue with float sometimes where it gets a little confused if you have too many floats. And what happens with box 3 is that this box ends up kind of being hidden below the other boxes because the browser gets a little confused. And so what you have to do, if that happens, is add a margin left setting. Okay, and I chose 62% because just looking at about halfway, okay, I can see where I'm at. And so that's 50%. So I was thinking that this was about 60%. And you basically play with the numbers until you get the settings that you think look good. Okay, so 62 is not the number I initially started with, but it's the number I ended up with. Okay, so I had to set the margin to 62 in order to see that box. Otherwise, it was hidden. And then you'll notice that that yellow box, we just increased the width to 90, so it's rather large. That is why it's on a row by itself. Now, this is a lot of work using the traditional box model to get these boxes all lined up. Not as much work for you guys because I'm telling you what to key in, but if you're figuring it out on your own, it's quite a bit of work. So there is an easier way to do this, and that is by using FlexBox. Okay, and to use the FlexBox, let me go back here, and we're going to pull up the FlexBox. Now, this is pretty much the same as what we're just looking at. The difference is that I've got the widths in here already. And the FlexBox is actually incredibly awesome because all you have to do is insert one line of code and everything lines up perfectly. Okay, so here's what it looks like before we put in the code. And let me pull this up. I'm going to pull it up offline for you. my little answer key so you can see this is what it looks like after we insert one line of FlexBox code. So what is the code and where do we put it? The code goes into the div tag, okay, because the div tag is basically what is creating those boxes. All of these little IDs, all they're doing is setting the width and putting color in them, but it's the div tag that's creating them. So we put this little line of code that says display inline flex. And what it does is it displays them in a row evenly spaced, and because it can't fit box 4 on the same row, it puts it directly below. And everything is evenly spaced. One line of code. Okay? And that is why FlexBox is so powerful. Okay? Now, the next video is going to show you absolute positioning and basically why you might want to do it.